Hi everyone, it's Joey. I'm already a week into moving out, trying to be more independent, a whole bunch of things that I had anticipated and planned over the past month. And I just wanted to do this little update to show already there are changes happening, that there is personal growth that is working well. And these are the kinds of things that I would have taken advantage of prior to this if I was living at home with my family, and the kind of things that I should have been mindful of throughout the entire time, but didn't make enough effort. Um, for those who don't know, I'm usually a trial by fire kind of person. You put me into the situation for it, and I will adapt to it as best as I can, oftentimes better than if somebody was doing the job for me. Having somebody to help with it is no problem, and I really do appreciate support from friends and family. But the better way that I can learn something is by being in the situation, not just a simulation, not just a demonstration of it, not just being told, you should do this. Well, I need to get myself actually into gear. And that's both, by hand and by mind. So within the past week, I have been keeping mind of the things that I wanted to change. So even before this point, financing, probably one of the biggest things I needed to change. Before even getting to move in here, I'd considered about the rent, or the concept alone of rent, no matter where it's going to be. But of the options I was given, this was the easiest and the most available. This is an arrangement that I had with my roommate in order to make the rent work out. We have the rent split fairly, and I had to make sure that I was meeting that every month. I didn't have to worry about it for September. That was the one thing that my roommate definitely made clear. He already paid for the rent for September before I moved in. Both of us weren't even sure if I was going to move in during September or at the end of September, like really be living here day to day in October. So that wasn't a burden on me. I'm glad that he arranged that and nothing was owed from it. With that being said, I already have a month's worth of rent that I've already saved up. And saved is important because normally money just walks through the door. It goes in, it goes out. I don't really, keep track most times of when I spend money or make money. It's like, oh, I got an email that there's more money in my bank account. Not necessarily what that money is or where that money's going to go, or does it just sit there? Does it save up? Does it hold on for a later purpose? Well, to get here, I had to save up money, and throughout the process, I've been making some and saving it, making a few more deposits at the bank instead of withdrawals. But curbing spending is definitely important because of the fact that I would have to pay rent in October if I was continuing this further. So that's really important that, okay, I can't spend more money, and I gotta watch what money I already have and make sure that's going in the right direction. That includes, I've already been paying for gas. That's no problem. Groceries. I don't often get groceries for myself, even when I was living with my family. That's the kind of thing that I would pick up once in a while if I think about it, but most times it would just be a family grocery list. We just write something down and someone else picks it up with everybody's things considered. And if we forgot something, we'll write it again. And sometimes I'll pick it up on my own, but usually it doesn't last. It's not the kind of thing that I'm mindful of. I'm getting this food and using it in a good way. Most of the time it would be something like this example. A couple of years ago, I remember that it was late. I was going to watch a movie, but we didn't have any pizza. At a random time, I was craving pizza. And food cravings don't really come for me that often. So, I wouldn't say it's something that I should have gave into. And instead, I could have had any other food in the fridge. But no, instead I remember going out to Target. I bought a couple of microwavable pizzas. I heated them up. I bought a 2 liter of Dr. Pepper. Went through that in either that night or within the next few nights. That didn't last long. That was money I put out of my own pocket to buy food, but I could have easily saved that for more than one occasion. And like I said in the beginning, I already have food at home, and I don't have cravings that often. I could have substituted that, no problem, and still enjoyed the movie. So with that, I have been mindful about the food that I am purchasing, how many meals I can get out of that food, and what I can spread it throughout the week. Normally I don't eat breakfast, and I, for a while, have been basically 2 meals a day, which works fine. Occasionally I can go for 3 meals. I could be hungrier and, grab other things like a snack or ice cream or whatever, when it's available or just in the mindset. But, and at very rare times I would actually be not that hungry for a day. I'd just be really just tired, relaxing, whatever, and I would only pick up 1 meal. But the fact that I'm thinking about how I'm spending my money in order to pick up more food, and I'm also adjusting that I am getting breakfasts, that the pattern of food that I have throughout the day is more consistent, and it's earlier. So the next thing is the fact that I am waking up earlier, not just because I have to. I mean, I am a trial by fire kind of person. So if I get into the position, I'm going to work on it as best as I can, as hard as I can, instead of just being told, do this thing. You gotta show me, or you gotta put me there in order to do so. One of the big things I thought about when I moved was the fact that I wasn't really in a position before this that I'm on my own taking care of myself for long days on end. I mean, maybe the occasional Lego convention I'd be working at and be there for a week and fend for myself. But a lot of times I'm already going out with other people, or we're ordering a pizza or something like that, so I wasn't really thinking on my own as much when it came to food or schedule or situation like that. I wasn't dorming in college, I was commuting. So that meant I was staying at home. A lot of things were provided for me, which is grateful. And I wasn't really thinking as much about how that was outside of the school routine. That was, as opposed to dorming, where I've learned from my brother and my sister that you get to be more familiar with what you have and keep up with it. I mean, I haven't done laundry yet while being here, but I know I'm going to do it sometime soon. I already got a pile, and I'm not buying clothes in order to keep going. Still working from what I have, but I'm going to have to do that laundry. That's going to have to be cleaned at some point. So, or even dishes. I have been doing dishes when I need to get something. It's like, I'm not just going to buy another cup. I'm not just going to use whatever else is here that belongs to my roommate. I have my set of things. I clean them. Getting back to the time thing. One thing that I've been doing a little bit better is the fact that I've been waking up earlier, which is something that I normally would sleep in for quite a while. I wasn't usually working until like an afternoon or evening shift, but now the jobs themselves have changed around a bit, and I'd say for the better, because I do have to get up earlier and go into work by 9 a.m. I'm now working either 9 to 12 or 9 to 2 kind of days, or 9 to 4:30 kind of days, which means I get a lot more I can do after that if I need to. And waking up earlier in general, even before I moved out, I was waking up a bit earlier. If I was waking up earlier, it gets more out of the day in general, instead of feeling like I woke up late and then I don't know what to do except for work, but that's the only thing I do in the day. And I feel unsatisfied because I could have done something else. Now, I can do all that and still have energy to do other stuff afterward. But because I'm waking up earlier, I'm also having breakfast. And breakfast that I would have otherwise skipped when I was at home. So that way I can figure out, okay, again, with the eating habit, it's like, okay, if I'm going to have 2 meals a day, and yeah, maybe occasionally 3, if everything works right, breakfast, so I can get into work, bag lunch. I don't often have a bag lunch when I go to work. I usually just pick up something on the road. And that's not a really good spending habit because it's extra money going out, and it's definitely cheaper to buy stuff for groceries and just use it as a bag lunch. And I actually learned this recently. I mean, there was a difference of, do I buy mac and cheese while I'm on the road, like a Wawa, a Quick Check, or like a Boston Market, you know, something like that, where as a meal it could cost $10 or more. Or I could buy it as a grocery item, and it could be as low as a 2-pack for like $2.70. So it's like almost $1 per, a little under $1.50 per cup of mac and cheese. I could bring that with me to work, and even better than if I were to buy like another microwavable mac and cheese for $4. The cups of mac and cheese are still enough. They're almost the same amount, just a little taller container. And that means I can bring that with me to work, and if during my lunch break for roughly an hour, I don't have to worry about driving out somewhere, picking up food at a restaurant, and driving back. And the hassle of traffic, getting back on time, the expense of the food, which I've also been trying to curve on its own. If I do need to do that for any occasion, I do it differently. But I'm also making sure that when the fact that I'm doing this packed lunch thing, if I'm hungry, I can have that food. And it's not taking a lot of time. I'm at the facility. I have what I need to prepare it, and I'm all set. And that gives me extra time from that lunch hour that I could just relax instead of, like I said, the stress of driving. So then there's the fact of, you know, if I don't have lunch, if I'm not hungry by that point, I can just save the food for when I get home. So that way my 2 meals are morning and at late afternoon. And I probably won't feel hungry every single time because I had the breakfast. And if it's enough of a breakfast, I can still work with that. I have, you know, things that are in packs most of the time, which already saves money, but also the fact that it's in packs, so I can keep going with them. You know, could be a similar breakfast every morning, or even if I've also been setting the alarms better, so that way I'm waking up earlier. I did have one day recently where I didn't set the alarm before I went to bed and skipped over, but not by far. I woke up on my own around 8 o'clock before I had to get myself ready for work for 9. And now I've been waking up at like 7, maybe 7:30. But still, before that, I would have slept in. And I'm also making sure that I'm not staying up late. I've been changing that around. Last night I went in just around midnight, so I got about 7 hours or so of sleep, which is way better than I would have done otherwise, where I would have had maybe 3 hours, 4 hours, some things that were not useful and couldn't be noticed from others if I napped off during the day, whether or not at work. This works out a lot better. I'm definitely going in a better direction already having a better mindset than when I was at home. And even if things didn't work out here and I came back home, I hope to continue carrying those skills and then some. Like the laundry, you know, I haven't gotten into routine with that yet, but at least I'm mindful I do have laundry to do. I'm not just piling it and leaving it for someone else to do. My roommate's not going to do my laundry for me. And I'm hoping that this continues further. Again, with the spending, I'm being mindful about what's coming in, what's going out, keeping the receipts, like literally doing accounting the other day, of what there is. I've been almost doing accounting of food. Again, making sure how many meals can I get out of this? How do I spread them out throughout the week? And what are the expenses of those meals as well? I've also been mindful that if I do have to go out and get food from a restaurant or takeout or whatever, that I'm not spending more than I make per hour, which I think is a very smart move, because if I eat that food within the hour, let's say for the lunch breaks I had before, if I eat that food within the hour and I spend more than what I'm making, that's more money I have to make up later. That's another hour or more of work that I need to do. Instead, I could have, like I said, a bagged lunch that's already taken care of and not super expensive. And I'd still feel energetic. I'd still be able to keep going with the day. So hopefully everything keeps going forward. I'm trying to, ease this in as much as possible, but the trial by fire is very important. The fact that I'm already in the mindset is a good thing, and the fact that I'm trying to, let's see, the fact that I'm already doing better habits than I would have done at home is important. I want to be sure that this keeps moving forward, whether or not I'm at home. So I basically recorded this for posterity's sake, just to see like how I actually felt throughout the first week. Might be fun to look back on someday. I had actually even recorded the announcement itself, or that same day, just again for posterity's sake, for how I addressed it and how I was thinking about it, and whether or not this is temporary. I think I'm gonna be okay. I think I'm working in the right direction.